Hey blockheads, this is DJ AK from NK Airplay Radio, and if you love what the My So-Called Whatever podcast crew is doing, check us out too. NK Airplay is an online radio station playing all your favorite hits from the 80s and 90s, especially the ones from those boys in the band, New Kids on the Block. Listen to artists like Boyz II Men, Debbie Gibson, Tiffany, boy bands, girl bands, and many more. We play artists that are associated with or who inspired the New Kids on the Block, plus some of the artists that inspired us while we were growing up. Check us out on social media at NK Airplay Radio. And download the Live 365 app for your iPhone or Android phone and listen today.
Friends forever, that's what we are. Through the thick and the thin, we're friendship stars. We're banger main buddies from the days of old. We laugh, cry, and hug, friendship solid gold. My so-called whatever started a year ago. We share our stories and your stories were told. 80s, 90s memories that give us glee. And on the block party shows, NKOTB. Now our friendship circle has grown by far. Hashtag friends forever, that's what we all are. Boom. And if you don't know, now you know. My so-called whatever for life. Hashtag MSCW. Hashtag friends forever. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
Hi. How's it going?
It's
y'all?
Going pretty well. It's going pretty well. Going pretty well.
Same.
Yeah, we're actually recording right now, like the night before this is released. So tomorrow, This episode will be released because what we had to do, we had to split this episode into two parts because it's pretty long.
It's good though.
Yeah, it's exciting. We have a special guest for you guys. His name is Jon Gerner. He is a psychic medium.
And he's pretty amazing, you guys. You're going to see. You'll hear.
Yes.
You'll hear.
Yes. We also want to thank Denise. Thank you so much for giving us his information. I feel like we're going to be connected with him for a very long time. It just was very strange. We had a lot of strange things happen while we were recording.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty amazing.
It was really amazing. And like, honestly, I'm still a little shook, even a week later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was cool. And he's a super nice guy.
He is.
Super nice guy, down to earth, like
very down
easy to talk to.
Some of the things he was saying, though, I was like, Like, I mean, it just made sense. It just made sense.
Right.
Right. So, also wanted to tell you, 200th episode's coming up. It's actually next week. And we are going to try to do something special for that episode. I'm just going to be like completely open and honest. Life happens. And we had really good intentions on doing something. But we had some blips that came up and I was spread too thin. Brooke was spread too thin. And we just couldn't make it happen. We do fully intend because we've already like packaged all these things we want to do for giveaways. So we're going to take this stuff and we're going to do it. It will be our 200th episode celebration. It will just be not our 200th episode.
It'll just be kind of loose. It'll just be kind of loose.
Right. So we're going to do it.
It's in honor of.
Be on the lookout for that.
Right.
Just waiting for things to calm down a little bit. Things are finally starting to calm, so it's good. But you guys know, we've got family stuff, and it continues, and I know you guys have it too. Yeah, so just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for being patient with us. We really appreciate it.
100%. You guys are amazing.
Yes, you guys are so amazing, and we appreciate you listening to us every single week. I can't believe we are going to be recording our 200th episode next week.
I know. That's so weird.
Or this week, this coming week, this week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so weird.
Yeah. So we're going to try to do something special. We hope you like it. And if we can't get it together this week, we may have to postpone until next week. Just letting you guys know ahead of time so you know.
Right.
It's not that we are, again, we're just spread really thin right now, and we want to give you guys something quality instead of something thrown together. So we will do our best to get it out to you next week. If not, it will be the week after. We'll take a break next week. And then we'll do our 200th episode the following week.
100.
What'd you say?
No, 200. I said 100, like 100%. But
100%. Yeah.
200. So 200%.
Yes. So thank you guys. And we hope you like our My So-Called Whatever episode.
Yay.
Our very first one of many to come, hopefully. Here it is. So, Brooke, you want to start?
Yeah.
Do we want to
Sure,
start the
let's
episode? Okay. So,
yeah, well, intro.
Let's intro.
Okay. This is Brooke.
And this is Nikki.
And this is John. Should I say
Yes.
that?
Yes. Say that.
I thought you guys were doing that, and then I was going to be like, that's
later. Right. I told them we were going to intro a little bit.
As you two. You two are the important ones. So I'm just.
No, you're the important one. You're the special
No,
guest.
you are the special guest, and everyone's going to be so psyched.
I love being a special guest.
So this is My So-Called Whatever edition.
Yeah. This is My So-Called Whatever.
I guess I'm a whatever, right? I'm a whatever.
You're a whatever, but also 80s. You're 80s. Well, not 80s, 90s, but you said you're really 80s. So
I am. I had fun in the 90s too. I have declared myself the unofficial king of the 80s. So
all right.
I think we fit right in together. I really do.
Although
I'm older than the two of you. I was actually there. You two look like you were like little babies then.
Oh, wow. I'm a 1980 baby. You
were born in the 80s.
I was born in 1980.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I graduated high school in 1980.
Oh, okay.
I could be your father. I could be your young and foolish father,
I was born in 1979, so.
See
but
that?
December 1979.
I know when I was watching Charlie's Angels, as we were talking about earlier.
Yes. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Jon. I'm Jon Gerner. I'm here in South Jersey, New Jersey. You girls have contacted me to, I guess you had, somebody reached out to you that had a reading for me. And it's always fun hearing follow-up readings and stuff that I say, and people say, oh, you told me I was going to have a baby, and guess what? And, all that. So it's always fun. But yeah, thank you for having me on. It's cool. This is my first podcast.
Yay.
And so I'm excited to figure all this out. I'm hoping to have a podcast myself. Nikki has been encouraging me.
Yes.
She is. I'm hanging with a bad crowd here. I'm hanging with a bad podcast crowd. And but yeah, I've been doing readings for a long time now. It's it runs in families. A lot of people ask me that, where does it start? All that kind of stuff. And but my mom used to read cards. But this was, like I was saying before to you, Nikki, this was not my plan to do this. It sort of fell on my path. So, but I've been doing it for, I guess it's been maybe 10, 12 years now professionally. And it's a lot of fun. It's, I still find it fascinating and interesting and all that. And so, yeah, I've been doing it for a while and a lot of fun. And Brooke, there's a lady with you. That's
there is?
Yes. And you look like her.
Oh.
It's on your mom's side.
I look like her.
Yes.
Oh.
You look like your mom's side?
I do.
Yeah. There's a lady coming through, and she was around like in the 40s and 50s. You had a lifetime then in the 40s and 50s. What's your middle name?
My middle name?
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Is that your grandma's name? And is there like a Marie or something Marie?
There's a lot of them.
Yes, though. There's two ladies coming through together, and one definitely passed from cancer.
Oh.
on your mom's side.
From cancer.
Grandmom is passed, correct?
Yes.
And does she have a sister that's also passed?
Yes. Yeah.
They're both coming through, and her sister's pointing to her chest. Was she a smoker?
When she was younger.
Yeah. Well, she was. And
Yeah.
she's coming through. Is there an Elizabeth, though? Is one of them Elizabeth?
No. My other grandmother is Elizabeth, but she's still alive.
No, there's Elizabeth that's passed. It might be her mother or.
Oh, you know what? No, there is. I didn't know her.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you do or not, but she's coming through also.
Yeah. She passed a long time ago.
And you two are very connected. You and well, you and your grandmother might be, but you and I'm pointing to the two of you like, you can see me. Like you can see me. You and Nikki are very connected through lifetimes. How did you girls meet?
We met in second grade.
Yeah? And were you instant friends or did you hate each other?
Instant friends.
No, she was, I was the new kid. She was my friend.
Oh, new kids on the block, right? Nice segue. You two were sisters. You were sisters in another life.
Aww.
Definitely were. And I definitely see, and you've come back a lot, Brooke. You have a congregation name? Are you Catholic?
No.
Do you have another name?
No.
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
What's your husband's name?
Peter.
There's two men coming through on his side, on his dad's side. He's got a lot of people passed. There was also an accident too. Does that make sense?
There was an accident on his side.
Who was that?
It was not that long ago. It was maybe his uncle, great uncle.
Yeah, they said brother, but uncle is brother, to whoever.
Yeah.
But he passed from there?
Yeah, it was an accident. It was bad.
Well, not everybody dies from an accident, but he said it was bad.
It was bad.
Did it flip? The car flip?
No, it wasn't. He wasn't in a car.
There's also a car that flipped too.
Oh.
Somebody passed in that as well.
I'd have to ask him. Have to ask him the details. But yeah, no, it was bad. It was not that long ago.
Is January connected with that?
I don't know, but I'll ask him.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to check.
And there's a younger male too that's passed for you.
Yep.
You get a lot of messages from them too. You're very
oh my gosh, just scared me in the background. See,
I know, I saw that. I was like, is that somebody is that a real person? Or,
oh my God, that just scared the hell out of me.
Who is that?
That's my daughter, and she's not in bed.
That's because she's in tune.
Shit out of me. Oh my God.
I love that.
I'm going to have to rewind and look at my face because, Brooke, I almost peed my pants.
I know. I saw you. I was like, I saw her and I was like, wait, am I saying something? Because it's kind of hard to tell in video if somebody's alive or passed.
Right. I know.
You also catch them out of the corner of your eye. Speaking of that.
I do. I feel like I do sometimes. I don't know.
What do you do for a living on?
I'm a travel agent.
Are you? Is that your own business?
No, I work for a large company.
Did you ever think about doing your own?
I've thought about it before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and they said that that's all going to change too.
Oh. Your
business is going to change.
I believe that.
It will.
Yeah.
Drastically. For you. But in a good way. All right. So where were we? I diverged.
Male. Young male.
Oh yeah. You actually have a lot of people passed, and you have a lot of lifetimes too.
I do have a lot of people. I feel like my family used to be like this.
It's so funny because once the door opens, I get like a bunch of information, and then I try not to weed things because I try, and that's another thing when I do readings, I try not to edit it because I try not to paraphrase actually because I try to say what I'm hearing because if I don't, then it may not make sense the way that it should to you. Do you know what I mean? So Anyway, but I try not to get personal, especially when we're on the air. So, especially when I do the radio, because I get a bunch of stuff, people call in, I'm like, oh no, I can't say that on the air. I can't do that. So, sometimes it's limiting, but always usually good. I've only had 2 times where bad spirits came in. People ask me that all the time too.
Yes, I was wondering that myself.
Are you? Yeah, it happened to me recently, and then before that, it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I went to this woman's house, and I was like, and usually it's like I get a good vibe about everybody that I go to, and I feel like people are sort of set in my direction, like word sort of spreads in heaven. They're like, oh yeah, John can talk to you, call him, you know what I mean? Have your people call him. And so it's, but yeah, I walked in there and she had like all these like bad spirits around her. So.
Oh no, what did you say? Did you tell her?
I didn't really know what to say because, I always start my readings out the same exact way. I say the same speech. I say, hi, hi, I'm John. I don't tell you anything bad, so don't worry about that. If you have any questions, please jump right in. I say the same exact things to everybody. And it's sort of like my way of saying to the other side, like, hey, I'm open, you can come in at this point. Mm-hmm. And then I was just getting like really bad spirits. And so she was like, and the thing was like, she was sort of into that too. And so then I had to tell her everything that I did know. And then she was like, oh, that makes sense. But
yikes. So. I hope there's no bad spirits around me.
No. And it's usually never like that. It's usually never like that. It's always people that are in heaven that, want to talk to you and give you a message.
That's the one thing I've told you, Brooke, that I've been terrified of. Like
what?
Terrified of like bad spirits.
Really?
Forever, yes. Because I feel like you and I talked about this, but I feel like sometimes there's like bad around me. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that at all with you.
That makes me very happy.
And your grandfather, Bud?
Yes.
He watches over you. He watches over you.
Gramp.
I know.
Did you know him too? Because he likes you, Brooke.
I did.
He likes you. Do you have a dog, Brooke?
I don't now.
You did though, right?
I did, yeah.
Was he bigger? Was he a bigger dog?
He was bigger than the other dog. He wasn't a big dog, but he wasn't small. He was like he had a big head.
Wait a minute. There's a dog right to your left, right back there. Was that your daughter that was back there before?
Yes.
There's a dog standing right there in that shadow.
Oh.
I'm like,
and I'm also seeing a German Shepherd. Did you have a German Shepherd?
I didn't, but
somebody did.
Yes. My aunt.
Your grandfather's also passed, correct?
Yes, a cup. Yeah, all.
I know, but on your dad's side, were you close to him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And do you have 2 children, hon?
Just one.
Did you miscarry them?
No.
Why am I getting 2 children around you?
I don't know. I have nephews.
No, there's something about that. Might be a past life child, but there's 2 children connected with you. Where do you, and you live in Maine as well, I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's your home that I'm looking at? Is that downstairs or where am I?
This is like the downstairs family room.
What? How long have you been in that house?
5.5 years.
Who lived there before? Do you know?
A woman she was a single woman. She moved to New Jersey.
The man that's passed in that house too.
Oh, there's a man that's passed in this house?
From that house, from that property.
Did he live here?
He either lived there or right next door, like to your right.
Did he pass here?
He's passed. I don't know if he passed yet in there, but he's definitely passed.
Is he connected to me? Can you tell?
He is connected to you, but not in the way that you think.
Oh, okay.
And there's definitely a gym
A Jim. His name is Jim?
I think it is. And this also could be on your husband's side too. Your husband's Pete, you said?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of people with him too. What's he do for a living? What's Pete do?
Retail management.
There's a promotion or something for him.
Good.
Well, that's good news.
Correct.
That is great news.
Yeah, there's more money too. There's money coming in, and that all that happens around January. Like the start of it happens in January. What's your
Bring
daughter?
on January.
Your daughter's she's very smart, very in tune.
My daughter?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Sadie.
Sadie, that's a great name. That's an old name too.
That is an old name.
That's a name from you.
It is. It's very special.
There's two names. Two people passed with that name. There's a grandmother, right?
Yep.
Was there a great grandmother as well?
Yep.
Yep. And she's giving you a big hug. She's got her arms around your back.
Oh.
And you have her jewelry or something?
Oh, I have not my grandmother, my great aunt. I do. I have a bracelet, actually. You made that motion.
Yeah, I know. I know. Normally I do, like with person, it's nice when I do this. Sometimes I'm on the phone and I'm like, yeah, and it's like right over there, and I'm like, oh, wait, you can't see me. It's like, I'm like, stupid guy. But like you have her bracelet?
I do.
Your daughter. She loves her. Her spirit's with her. She passed before your daughter was born?
She did, yeah.
Is anybody's birthday in January or passing date in January? They keep bringing that up.
Yep. That.
And they're also showing me number 2, like either the 2nd, 12th, 20th, something.
2nd, 12th, 20th.
I think it's the 20th something.
So that same great aunt passed in January.
Yeah. What date though?
It's crazy.
I don't remember the date.
It said 18th too. It doesn't matter. We could go on and on about dates, but
18.
and so that's your mom's mom, grandmom, aunt?
Yes.
What's your mom's name?
Nancy.
Is there a Joan?
No, I don't know a Joan.
Or Judy, like a female J name like that?
There is for me. I don't know if.
Is there? Okay, it could actually be for you. Who's that, babe?
Judy. That's my aunt.
Yeah, no, passed.
Yes.
Yeah, she's coming through with her grandma. What are you looking around at? Oh.
Who, me?
Who, me?
Yeah.
The child is sitting right here.
No, I thought, you know what? Because you have a lot of people behind you, spirits. I think you actually sensed one of them. That's why I was asking you. Because they're all right behind you.
Really?
So
Yes. Is that downstairs? Is that room downstairs?
It is. It's like a basement.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
what
basement
I'm saying.
level.
They're saying we're downstairs with her, like meaning like it's lower level.
Yeah.
They're down there. Is there pictures back there somewhere? You have pictures of them out?
I don't have many pictures out.
Do you have any pictures out of people that are passed on? And they just showed me somebody who's cremated too.
I only know of one family member that was cremated.
Who's that? Male?
Yeah, my uncle.
Yeah, he's here too. You don't have an Ed, do you?
Ed, no.
There is an Ed also. This may be on Pete's side. Pete is your husband? Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah, might be on his side.
Ed.
There's also a younger male that's passed.
Yeah, there is.
Popping in, and I don't know who he is. He just gave you a kiss too. How'd you know him?
Oh, Brooke. You're going to make me cry.
I'm sorry. I hate doing that. I hate making people cry. I see psychics on TV and they're like, she's ready to cry, put the knife in. I'm like the other guy. I'm like, don't cry. Please don't cry. I hate making women cry. I really do. I'm not that guy.
My brother.
Loves you. Did he take his own life or contribute to his own passing?
It wasn't, he didn't mean
I don't
to.
get too personal with you, but.
Yeah, he didn't mean to.
No, I know. Was it drugs though?
That was a contributing factor.
Mm-hmm. Because he's bringing that up. He said you tried to help him too.
I did.
He's saying same name. Is he named after your dad or something?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And is there a tattoo for him?
No, he didn't have a tattoo.
Did somebody get a tattoo for him?
I've thought about one.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Me? I do.
Yeah. The one that nobody knows about.
I try not to talk about it.
Sorry. I told you, listen, everything's free game at this point. I try to like weed things out and try not to personal, but that's what I'm saying. And so I'm going to leave that at that. But anyway, yeah. So did he pass twice, your brother?
Yeah.
He said
I mean,
twice. So I know, well, you could actually pass twice and come back. But
yeah.
That we were talking, Nikki and I were talking about that earlier, how people sometimes come back after they pass. And I love that. I love those stories and all that. But he's okay. He's definitely coming through with Grandpa. Were they close? He's got another male with him too, another younger male that passed similar. Somebody actually took their own life too.
He had friends.
Somebody hanged themselves.
It might be a friend of his.
Who's the R name?
R.
Like Richard, Robert?
Oh my God, Brooke. Down the street from you.
Did you guys go to school with him?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because he said we went to school together.
Yes.
Did he sit in between the two of you?
No, but
He sat in between the two of you.
Wait,
yes.
is that seriously who that is?
Yes.
It really could be anybody that can come through.
But R.
Yeah. And hung himself.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
long time
right?
ago.
Yeah, it was like the first.
I can get people that passed 100 years ago.
It was like our first experience with someone who took their own life.
Did you actually go to his funeral?
No.
No. My brother probably did.
Yeah,
Did somebody play basketball?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
You were good.
Thank
you are
you.
good. You are
Thank
good.
you.
Your pop's saying.
Oh, he was the one that taught me.
I know. Did he have a hoop in the back?
I did, yeah. And he would show me how to do whatever I wanted to learn how to do.
Was that by the big tree? He did that too, even when he did not feel good.
Yes, he did.
Did he have a bad back?
You know what? I don't know. He would never tell us if.
No, he wouldn't. No, he would not. No, he would not. Yeah,
I think that he heard a lot.
Saying it, sort of like when I wake up with my back pain or whatever. It was really fun being young. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the 80s. The 80s were great time. Had a ball, tanned. That was great. Yeah. I can't believe how old I am.
You're not old. You're not old.
Well, I could be like your father.
No.
I could be like the guy that had kids too young. in 1980. Anyway, yeah, I did. I graduated in 1980. Yeah, it's fun. I can't believe that's 40 years ago.
I know.
So crazy.
I still think like 1990 is like 10 years ago.
Yes.
For some reason.
Same.
Isn't that crazy?
Same.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
But, yeah. And I got to tell you, I was saying this to you earlier, Brooke. Brooke and I were, not Brooke, Nikki. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I keep inverting you two.
That's okay.
I keep doing this because you guys are like this on this spots on the screen. Anyway, and I'm fascinated by this whole thing. I really am, by Zoom, but I feel very connected to the two of you.
I feel very connected to you.
I think there's a past life connection with the two of you. Like, I think I'm stuck with you for life.
Well, that's fantastic.
Well,
I don't mind that at all.
It's not a bad thing. I said it like it's a bad thing, but I do. I think we'll be friends for a long time. So.
Well, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Me too.
So what do you want to talk about? So you dragged me all the way to Maine. What do you want to talk about?
Yes. Okay. So this is one thing that I am like super interested in knowing, because as you guys know, I watched Unsolved Mysteries. Like, I know every episode pretty much. I can tell you probably pretty much every episode.
I love Unsolved Mysteries. And not to interrupt you, but you know what else too happens to me? When I watch it, I know the outcome.
That's crazy. How about Angelo Desideri?
What's that?
Oh no, sorry. It was just this one episode. I know the guy's name. I don't know why I know his name, but his name was Angelo Desideri, and he disappeared. But I actually did get an update. I just happened. It's this is the strangest thing. I've talked to you guys about Angelo Desideri, I'm pretty sure. And
It's so funny
Yes, you definitely have.
yes,
It's so funny you know his whole name.
he
Angelo Desideri.
and you know, there's multiple episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, like
Yeah, absolutely.
tons. So this guy was an old man that I just like. I was like, either like the guy that portrayed him, just like it set with me, like, oh, I love this old man, but he just like disappeared, and people thought it was like mob thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Did
and
they
like,
find him in the parking lot?
Yes.
Underneath the cement or something?
Yes. I
it
do
a
believe
stadium?
so. I do believe
Was
it.
it a stadium?
Was that a what?
Was it a stadium?
I'm not sure.
Was it by the river in a stadium or something?
Oh my gosh. I can't remember. I
Okay,
can
doesn't matter.
tell you.
That's actually what I'm saying. You know, it's so
Ah.
funny because that's what happens. Like when I watch TV shows, it's like I know the
You know what
outcome.
happens.
Yeah, and my wife, she actually works for the state police, right? So
Oh,
she'll-
that's awesome.
yeah. So she'll call me. She'll say, and she'll call me out of the blue. Well, it's so funny because she'll call me like out of the blue, and she'll say, you know, Melissa's having a problem. Do you? And I'm like, and then I always do my Jerry Seinfeld, like, who is this? You know, like, and I was like, I don't know, Linda. You know, cleaning the yard. I don't know what happened to Melissa in her life. You know, like that kind of thing. So it's so funny. She does that to me all the time. But then there's times where she'll say somebody's missing. Do you know where they are? And I'm like, I am not telling you because if I do, you'll get me involved and you'll be a bucket mouth, and then I'll be like hauled off somewhere, and I'll have to do this whole thing. But I have told people where their people are. I have told that because people that contacted me that I've done readings for, they'll say, you know, my brother-in-law's missing, and I was like, he's in the marsh, you know, he's over there.
Oh no.
There was a couple of guys that got murdered on the river near us, and I told people,
no.
you know, where they are. I do see it, you know, I see stuff. It's sort of like a vision, and it happens that way.
And that's like you said, you don't you want to tell people these things, but you're not involved.
Yeah, like, you know, it's I don't want to go in and say, yeah, I know where that, you know, lady is, and it's like, well, how do you know? You know, like,
Oh, true.
or you know, so
Right.
I was like, yeah, you know, so. But,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and then, but it's so funny because like, especially my kids are like, do you get that? Like, you know, like they'll watch Medium, like the TV show, and they're like, does that happen? I was like, well, sometimes, but not exactly like that. So yeah, it's neat. It's fun.
So when did you always know that you had something, or like was there a time where like, oh wow, I just saw Uncle Ted and he has been dead for 20 years? Like
Well, yes and no. So
okay.
This was not something like, this was not my life's dream. Like, I always want to be a psychic, you know?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I barely want to be one now. I'd rather be sitting on a beach somewhere, but no, I actually like it. But, you know, like my mom, like she was very psychic, my mom. And well, she's in heaven. I hate when I still do that. I still talk about people in the past tense, and I try not to, because they're just somewhere else. They're not gone. Anyway, she like growing, and I say this to my kids all the time, you know, growing up with a parent that has that sort of ability, you know, especially a mom, because, you know, mom's got that sixth sense to begin with their kids. And then, you know, having a psychic mom, which my mom was very, very psychic, like she would say, John, what's going on? Or is everything okay with you? And I'm like, you know, get out of my head. So I'll do that now with my daughter. I'll do it with my daughter, who she's so funny. She's 20. And so I'll say, and I won't even know I'm doing it. I'm like, well, you know, what happened with this? She's like, will you get out of my head? And I'm like, I don't even know I'm in your head. I'm just, you know, you thought they're a teenager, you know, it's like, it's like, get away, it's like.
Don't go to that party on Friday night. It's going to get busted.
No, I do tell her that. I'm like,
no way.
I'm like, what happened? She's like, get out of my head. Get out of my head. She does that all the time. Now, my son, he actually has a lot of psychic ability. So,
really?
And she's so mad because she's like, he gets it. He doesn't even know what he's doing. It's so funny. But anyway, so my son's like, teach me to be a psychic. Teach me, I was like, you already know. You just don't know, So the answer is, it's like I used to see, well, when I was really young, I had an imaginary friend who was not imaginary. His name was Timmy. And he moved on. I don't know where he is, but he moved on. We used to have the best times together, me and Timmy. And then after that, I would see like spirits. Here's a cool story. I told you I had a million of them.
I'm excited. I'm here for it.
These are great.
Sorry, we lost connection, John. There's no more Wi-Fi. Sorry. 5G got us, Anyway, don't want to hear one more of your stories. It's like my kids are like, I already heard that one, Dad, Anyway, so where was I? I can't even remember where I was.
Imaginary friend.
Timmy,
my imaginary friend. He did move on. No, I was going somewhere else, and I can't remember what I was going to tell you. But yeah, so it does run in my family. My mom used to read cards, and that was fun. So to answer your first question, I'll go back to that. So no, it wasn't like something like, I'm going to be a psychic when I grow up and do all that. It just was something that sort of, literally fell in my lap. I've done a whole lot of things through my life. It's been a, fun journey. I've always sort of instilled that with my kids and, say, have fun, it's, life's short. Life's short if you live to you're a day or 100 years old, it's short. So I always say have fun and, it really does. The things that are supposed to happen in your life, they really do. So, but it's fun, it's a fun journey. I've been a bunch of careers and sort of fell into every one of them. I was, I'll tell you my Billy. You want to hear my Billy Idol story?
Yes. Brooke needs to hear this. Yes.
Yes.
I got a lot of 80 stories. I met a lot of 80 celebrities. I had some celebrities. I'll tell you this first. I'll tell you my dead celebrity stories. You want to hear my dead celebrity?
I'm here for that.
I know, right? They're great. They're fun. So anyway, I was at a reading one time. All right, so I'll start here. I'm the worst at telling stories because my mind wanders all over the place. So I was at a reading and I said to the woman, I was like, why am I getting you at the Emmys? And she's like, I say, have you been to the Emmys? She said, yeah, I was just there this past year. And I said, excuse me. And I said, do you know Doris Roberts? And she said, yeah, she's friends with my husband. And she was passed at the time. And so Doris Roberts, everybody loves Raymond.
Yes.
Yes.
I love her. Yeah.
I love her too.
She came in this reading. So then like 2 weeks later, weird, right? I was at another reading, completely different. And I was talking to this woman. I was like, wait a minute, do you know Doris Roberts? Because Doris Roberts popped back in. And she's like, my son was her attorney. And I was like, get out of here. So like Doris Roberts came twice in like 2 weeks time to my reading.
You were like,
so
I know you.
That was one.
That's crazy.
I'm like, it's Doris Roberts again, right?
That's so crazy.
Like, yeah. Another time I was at a reading and I pulled up to this lady's house and I usually do parties, like 6 people and each reading's individual. And so she was like my 5th reading of the night. And, but when I pulled up, I saw her walking in. A lot of times, like I'll pull up and people are still coming to the party. So I see like who's coming out of the car with them, spirit wise, who's there. And I saw this tall black guy come across the street with her, right? That's passed. So I'm at the reading and he was still there. He was there the whole time, but I couldn't really see him. I just saw, like, sometimes I see like the whole thing. Sometimes I just see sort of a vision. Sometimes I see like, what your grandfather looks like. Sometimes I just know it's your grandfather. It really depends on how they show me. So we're at the reading and I said, you've had this guy behind you the whole time since I said, I saw you walk across the street with him. And she's like, I don't know who he is. And I was like, I don't know who he is actually either. I can't even see his face. And I was like, wait a minute. You know who he looks like? He looks like Teddy Pendergrass. She's like, Theodore? And I was like, you know Teddy Pendergrass? She's like, oh, I grew up with him.
How do I know that name?
Teddy Pendergrass. He was a big like R&B singer in the 70s.
Okay.
He actually got in a vehicle accident, was crippled, and then passed after that. But anyhow.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but he came through, and you know, different people that way. So, but I was at Billy Idol's birthday party, so that was fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So at one point, I was at years ago, I was at a wedding. This was the 80s too, right? So I was at a wedding, a good friend of mine's wedding, and this girl came up. She's like, do you ever think about going to modeling? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, here, contact this. And at the time, it was like the biggest agency in Philadelphia for modeling. So I contacted them. They're like, yeah, you know, you could do this. So so I eventually ended up in this like sort of cheesy, big over the top bridal show. And I was, you know, like there was like 7 grooms, 7 brides, and I was on the grooms, you know, and but it was so cool because they traveled the country. And so they like, you know, would limo you to the airport and you'd fly off and there was like a tour. It was like a 6-month tour.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
cool.
And it was really great. Like, you know, as you're a young guy and you had like nothing to do, you have a dog and a Jeep, and you know, that was my life. So so, you know, I could travel over, and you go from like, you know, St. Louis to California to Florida to like, you know, just all over. They would just tour you all over in this big giant show, you know, and it was so funny because it was like a big giant show, you know what I mean? Like if you know what I mean. Anyhow, so you know, there's all these like beautiful girls, you know, in the show. And we're all friends. We all lived together, you know, for 6 months at a time, each year. And I did it for like 3 years. Anyway, so we ended up in California, and the girls were like, oh, let's go to, you know, like this club on Sunset. And they were all, you know, beautiful girls. So Billy Idol's like, his people was like, oh, bring them in, you know? And I was like, all right, I'll come with you, you know? So, and it was actually right before his motorcycle accident. He had a bad motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
And he came out and he had this really cool tan suede fringe jacket at the time, talking about 80s, right? And I probably had my black fringe jacket at that time. And I was like, wow, your jacket's so cool. He's like, thanks, dude. You know, and, you know, off he went on his motorcycle. And then like a week later, he got in a bad accident.
Oh, man.
So, that's my Billy.
I remember the suede, the fringe jackets.
I know.
Those were so cool.
I know.
Those were so cool.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
No.
That was the best era, I'm telling you.
It was fun. I always
really
wished
fun.
I was older. Like, cause my sister, like I've told you guys, and I told you, she's 11 years older. So I always like watched what she was doing. And I always wanted to be like where she was, because she had like the cool hair and.
Oh yeah, the big giant hair.
Yeah.
I had the big giant
yeah.
hair. I had the big giant hair. I had a lot of hair.
That's awesome.
A lot of hair. And then as the 90s grew, like it all grew long. So I had like one length, like down my back hair. You know, it's so funny. So funny.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But fun life. It's been fun.
See, so the 80s came full circle.
I know. It's so that when you contact me, I'm like, oh, these girls, they're 80s chicks. I'm like, this is right up my alley, right in my wheelhouse. Yeah. So, So, and I told you I met, talk about a bunch of celebrities. Pamela Anderson.
Yes.
Met her, another 80s chick. You
were going to tell me, I think you were going to tell me, and I can take this out, but I think you were going to tell me about, or you said that you saw people when you were talking to her. Like people were coming through, but you were like,
yeah. I did actually. I did. So I was talking to Nikki earlier, Brooke, and we were talking about celebrities and stuff that we've met or whatever. And I love Pamela Anderson. So normally I don't get like starstruck, but I was really starstruck when I met her in a Rite Aid, which is like the best story ever. Like Pamela Anderson in a Rite Aid, right? So there I was in the Rite Aid, and me and my son, and so I went up to her and I was talking to her. And there was this woman named Irene, and I still get her with her. And I don't know who she is, but I was too nervous to tell her anything about it, you know, because I was just like, oh, I love Pamela Anderson. Anyway, Pamela Anderson listens to this. There's a woman named Irene that wants to talk to you.
Oh.
Yeah. But she was great. She was really nice and very in tune too. I picked that up with her. She's like very in tune with the other side.
That's cool.
So,
That is cool.
yeah.
I feel like I could like, I feel like she'd be like a good friend.
I think she would be my.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I definitely know what you mean.
She just seems like a good person. She just seems like a
does
very
seem like
good
a
person.
She seemed like she and you know what? And talk about the 80s. You know, I think she's crazy in a good way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
she's
crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way.
Crazy in a good way is great.
There's good crazy and then there's bad crazy.
Yeah.
But I think she was good.
That's
crazy.
good.
That's awesome. I think I'm crazy in a good way.
I think so too.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think you're very in tune with the other side.
Who, me?
Yes.
I want to be.
When you were little?
What?
Did you used to see spirits when you were little?
So.
Oh.
Tell me your ghost story. Tell me your ghost story.
Well, so I had, when you said that you had an imaginary friend that wasn't really imaginary.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I had an imaginary friend that I feel wasn't really imaginary.
They never are.
And I haven't seen her in years since I was a little girl. Her name was Mary. And she wore.
That's a name that I was getting with you.
Really?
Well, remember, I think that was one of the first names I said to
I
you.
think it was
Oh, was it? Well, you said
Yeah.
Marie.
Marie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like Mary or Marie. That doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So she was a little girl, but she was a little bit older than I was, slightly older, maybe like a year or two.
Were you around 11 or 12?
No, I was younger. I was like 4 or 5.
I think she was a little bit older than that. I think she might have been like 10, 11, 12.
She might have been. She was bossy and mean. She was very, very mean.
Was she?
Yeah, she was rotten.
Was she?
Yeah, but I played with her, and
You had an
she
imaginary enemy. Most people have imaginary friends. You had an imaginary enemy.
But she was my friend, so we would color and stuff. But she wore this all I could think of, and all I can describe it is she looked like a prairie girl.
Yeah,
she had a
was.
dress.
She did have a dress and was ruffled.
Yes, with an apron.
I know. I see her.
And her hair.
Uh-huh. Did she have curls?
She had braids.
Yeah, it's like long down to her right here.
Yes.
Mhm.
And she was mean and rotten, and she used to mess my toys up.
She pulled your hair.
I'm sure she did.
She
Yeah.
did. She pulled your hair when you were young. She used to pull your hair and wake you up. You knew her from another life.
Oh.
You definitely did. That's a lifetime thing.
Yeah, she was rude, and I used to, and my family still talks about it, that I would blame things on Mary.
I think it's funny because it's true. I know
it is true.
I know it is.
I was always very meticulous and very neat with my certain things.
When's your birthday?
March
Oh,
22nd.
okay. March
So
is a psychic month. You're born in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she used to dump out my crayons. I specifically remember her dumping out my crayons in my bedroom, and I would never do that. I never was one to dump out crayons. I would take one out and use it and put it back. But I would blame it on Mary.
Uh-huh.
And my family would.
I know it sounds bizarre, but I've lived it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, and she was very real.
And you know what I find interesting too? I think the time right now in the world, with not right now, but the last 10 years, this has all sort of come to be acceptable to talk about. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It years ago,
For sure.
and you were saying to me, oh, did you see that? It was something that, my family, it wasn't something taboo. My mom was gifted. My father's father was gifted. My father didn't believe in any of it. He didn't believe in being able to do that, but he loved my mom with all his heart. So, she could say the moon was made out of cheese, and he'd be like, okay, whatever whatever you say, I love you. So, but it was funny. I'll tell you a quick story too, because my grandfather, my dad's father, he passed young, and he loved my mom. And he said to my mom, when I pass, I'm going to grab your leg. So they went from, he was actually laid out at my grandmother's living room. They used to do that back in the day. They used to lay people out in the house. And he was laid out, and they took him out. My mother went in the car with my father and maybe my grandmother. I don't know who else was there. And she screamed because he grabbed her leg. And not only that, but the whole car filled with like this blue mist inside. And that was him. And I'll tell you something else about mist and orbs. People talk about orbs and seeing them in pictures and all that. That's them. That's their spirit. That's their energy. And we were Nikki and I were talking about other psychics and famous psychics that you see on TV and everything. And I do think, and I don't think that, myself included, I don't think anybody gets 100% of information ever. I don't think there's one psychic in the world, famous, not famous, except for maybe one years and years ago, like Edward Casey, he was really good.
Yes.
Tesla, he was really good. They were special people. I'm not special. I'm just a guy. But they did that. I think they knew more than most people did on the planet. Anyway, but I don't think God gives you all the information. And there are psychics that I think are really good that I've seen on TV, and some still living, some not. And I don't think they all have the right information. And I'm including myself in that too. Like Sylvia Brown, she was famous, and she used to say that people didn't travel in orbs. They do. That's their first energy that they travel in. Then the next spot, they're sort of like that misty mass kind of thing. And then after that, they can appear as a three-dimensional person. And sometimes we see people just walking around the streets. Like you can see angels walking around the street. I got an angel story to tell you too. I got a couple of stories to tell you.
Oh, yes.
I got a million stories. I can't just have a million.
That's why you have to come on multiple times.
In my crazy head. I'm so crazy. I got such a crazy life. Anyway, so all right, let's tell you my angel stories. I got two really good angel stories. So one day, I'll definitely tell you this one. This was a good one. So I was an art director for a publishing company for years, right? Downtown Philly. And I used to drive past this whole homeless community because there was a place called the Sunday Mission. And I used to feed the homeless people when I used to go volunteer there and hang out there. I got so many stories today. How much time do we have?
Oh,
anyway,
keep going.
I'm driving down, right? And so from the 80s, I accumulated especially a lot of coats. I don't know how, but how coats never wear out. Then you put them and then you buy another one and, you just accumulate them. So I used to keep them in my Jeep, and I hate the cold. I really hate the cold. I think it's from my lifetime in Alaska. And so I used to drive by and I'd feel really bad for these people that are, outside in the cold, especially in the cold. And so I used to give people my coats. I used to keep clothes in my Jeep and then give it to anybody who was out there. And so one time this guy came up and I was like, yo, you want a coat? And he's like, yeah. And he came up to my Jeep and I handed him my coat, and he was on the passenger side, never forget it. And when I handed him the coat, he glowed. His whole person glowed. And he was a younger black guy, and he just changed everything. It changed about him. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, okay, here you go. And so my dad said to me, who's passed, he said, you just got points in heaven. You just gave your coat to an angel.
Oh, wow.
So that was really neat. Another time, and sometimes people see, they think, wait, there's something on my screen here. I'm so old, I can't see a thing. And one time, and this was I'll never forget it. It was actually in June. Remember June 6th, 06, when it was 666?
Yes.
Right?
I do.
That was the day. And that was significant. That was people think just, whatever. That was actually a bad day on the planet.
My brother-in-law's birth date is June 6, 1967.
Well, he's good.
And I was like, good thing you weren't born in 1966. Jeez.
Well, when that day came, remember everybody was like, "Oh, this is a bad day because it's
Yes.
666."
Yeah.
It was a bad day. That day, and I was talking to spirits that day, and they told me that it was a bad day. I saw an angel, an archangel. I know this sounds bizarre. You know, like I'll say things to people and I'm like, I can't even believe I'm saying this because it just sounds bizarre. I know people are listening to this like, he's nuts. He's crazy.
They're like,
you know?
this is
I know.
amazing.
Well, frankly, I don't care. But, you know, sort of how I live my life. I really don't care. But I like, if I was listening to me, I'd be like, that guy's nuts. That's Shane. He's crazy as a loon. You know, he's right up my alley, but he's crazy as a loon. Anyway, I saw this like 7-foot angel in my kitchen on that day. And all I can describe him as is this like 7-foot gray mass. And it was like a 3-dimensional gray shadow. So like, in other words, I walked completely around him and saw every angle of him, but I couldn't see like his face. I could just see the outline of him, but a 3-dimensional outline. Sort of like, you know how like they have those 3D printers now and they make something out of nothing?
Yes.
That's kind of how he was. And
Wow.
Amazing. And angels are big. Like there's small angels, there's big angels, there's all different size angels, there's different color angels. And people are different colors too. Your energy is a different color. So like my mom used to see my dad when he passed and he had like an amber glow, his orb. And, you know, and there's different colors to orbs too. And you know, another interesting thing is too, here's another thing I know. I don't know much, but I do know some things. Orbs. So I used to get orbs all the time in my pictures, right? Like multiple. And I asked them one day, I'm like, you know, one orb looks like the next orb, right? Most times. You know what orbs are? Do you know what orbs are? Oh.
No.
Do you ever see like balls of light in pictures?
Oh, no. Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. I know what those
I thought
are.
you were, yes. Because Brooke actually has a picture of your mom with an orb that looks like a person.
It's crazy.
Who's in the picture with your mom?
My mom is in the picture.
With this orb?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So orbs are, so the interesting thing, like people in heaven can look at a picture with 7 orbs and they know which orb is them.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
It's really cool. I think that's like one of the most things I was fascinated with. When I first started talking to heaven, literally talking to them, I asked them a couple of things right away. I'm like, well, after I didn't believe that it was actually them and I made them prove it to me, I was like, is there aliens? Because right away I was like, I had to go, you know, I had to find out. And they're like, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Actually,
I'm
sorry,
terrified of aliens.
No, don't be. They're actually good.
Okay.
Some of them. Some of them are not.
Okay.
I know. I sound so bizarre in this podcast.
No, you don't. No, not at all.
I absolutely do. I sound like a nut. Anyway. Anyway, there's good aliens, bad aliens. There's Bigfoot, all that stuff. It's all real. It's all real. I know I sound like one of these crazy people that are on these things. And
I think Brooke's frozen.
No,
you're not. You're like deep in thought.
No, I'm not.
I think she's just bored with one of my stories. She looks like
No.
one of my
No.
Like,
That's
you told me this one.
When she's absorbing information, that's her absorbing, like,
I just
listening.
sit.
Yeah.
You sit and listen?
I do.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good thing to do. So anyway, so that's my angel story. So, everybody has guardian angels. That's something nice to know. I have, and I know my angels' names. I talk to them all the time. I have, and I'll tell you a funny story about my one angel. So angels like everybody has a guardian angel. Everybody's got a spirit guide. Spirit guide's a person. Guardian angel is obviously an angel. You know, like we're not gonna, like, you know, like they say, you know, like Uncle Jim's passed and now he's an angel in heaven. Uncle Jim's not an angel. I certainly will never be an angel ever. Just from my past in the 80s alone. But people are people, angels are angels. They're just two different beings. You know, you're a soul in heaven. Anyway, I have 7 angels that travel around with me. And you know what's interesting too? Because I used to work at nights when I was young in the 80s. There's another 80 stories for you. Girls love the 80 stories.
Yes,
I
yes.
get those for them. So I used to drive, and I used to, like, when I was driving home from work, I would see 7 beings on the side of the road. And I never knew how many angels. I didn't know anything about my angels, or even really actually care at that point.
Were you
them.
were you scared?
No. It just sort of fascinated me because I would see them like every like 10th of a mile.
Oh.
And I didn't know what they were. It was like sort of like like kind of a hallucination because I was so tired, like driving. And you know, like you drive and you start to fall asleep and you open up the window. And
Brooke and I know this very well.
Yeah. And
yes, we do.
Angels that protect us when, you know, when they're, I get so much stuff to tell you. Everything keeps coming to my mind that I want to tell you about. So all my useless knowledge, kind of useful.
It's
advice.
fantastic.
No, it's wonderful.
Anyway, so I used to see them. So I have 7. My angels' names are, my guardian angel is Thomas, and he's a real big, he's got long red hair, and he's a real big angel, like 7-foot angel. There's Thomas, Abigail, Phineas, Ignatius, Basil, Thaddeus, and Solomon. So Thaddeus and Solomon, they're 2 young boys. I met them in a dream. And I met Saint Padre Pio and Saint Francis in that dream.
Wow.
Both saints. And it was a bizarre dream. I'll tell you about that later. But anyway, Basil, he's a black angel that I have. And I found a picture. I was in a flea market one time, and it actually looks like him. And I think it's supposed to be like a black Jesus. So I have it hanging on my wall, you know, and so people come over like, why do you have a black Jesus in your house? I'm like, he's not, it's my angel. It's my guardian angel, you know? So anyway, that's Basil. And I was at work one day. When I was telling you, I was an art director for a while, too long. And I was sitting there one day, and over in my head, I kept hearing the name Ignatius, and I couldn't stop it. It wouldn't stop. It was like Ignatius, like all day long. I was like, oh my God, it's driving me crazy. I couldn't do anything. And then I found out it was my angel Ignatius wanted me to know his name. So sometimes like they'll just say something to you until you figure it out what that is. So they're my angels. Everybody has a different amount of angels. Abigail's a little dark-haired girl angel, but they all look different. And people think angels are all like little cherubs, and they're not. They're all different, and they all have different jobs in your life.
Does everybody have an angel?
Everybody has a guardian angel. You don't come here without one. Everybody has a spirit guide. Your spirit guide is somebody that is a person in a past life. Okay. So I had a lifetime as an American Indian. I was telling you earlier, Nikki, about where I am now.
Yeah.
And I lived here in that lifetime. And that's why I got back to this location again in Jersey. But my spirit guide, his name's Mountain Scout. And he was my brother in that life. So your spirit guide travels with you. So he's the guy or the girl that sort of nudges you through your life and says, you know, now you got to go meet your spouse, or now you got to go do this, or it's time to go here, learn this. It's all lessons, you know, like I always say, you know, like if life was great and perfect all the time, you know, it'd be heaven. Mm-hmm. You know, we're here to learn a bunch of lessons, and, you know, and I always say if you have one good day and 2 bad days, you know, you're kind of ahead of the game because we're here to learn something. So, you know, you got to take really the good with the bad. That's why they say that. So that is
true.
Yeah. So but your spirit guide is the person, and it is a person that gears you through your life. And you have a bunch of past life people that are around you. So picture this. So Nikki, what's your husband's name again?
Kevin.
Okay. So you and Kevin you both lived to 100, right?
Yeah.
And you both die at 100, and you go to heaven, and Nikki, you come up, and God says to you, Nikki, we're going to need you back down on earth. You're going to be your daughter's granddaughter. And you're like, okay, God, I'm in. So then you come down, and I'm back down, and you meet Psychic John again. And I say, you know, there's a guy, what's your husband's name again?
Kevin.
Kevin. I always tell people, don't worry about me telling your business, because I forget it as soon as I.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So, and then I say to you, there's a Kevin here, and he wants to talk to you. And you're like, I don't know Kevin. I don't even like the name Kevin. I never met a Kevin. So Kevin would still be watching you through your whole life since the day you were born back here on earth. You know what I mean? So picture this, you get back to heaven, and immediately you know all these people that are connected with you from other lifetimes. It's That's really amazing. Cool. It's really cool.
That is really
Another
cool.
story. So in my last life, my name was Lou. I lived on Waterloo Street in Kensington, which is a real bad area of Philadelphia, which actually where I'm from in this lifetime too. Anyway, not bad. It's just, you know, an area. Anyhow, I don't know a bad mouth whole area, but like, you know, where did you ever hear the movie Rocky?
Yes.
Okay, it's where Rocky was from.
Okay.
Okay, so it's that area. You know, it's
Okay.
kind of like not it's kind of a tough area, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, so my email is Lou from Waterloo. That's why it is. So
I was wondering
born-
that.
that's why it is. So I was born September 11th, 1911, and I died September 11th, 1942 in
Oh,
World
wow.
War II. So I actually got a Purple Heart too in that
Oh,
lifetime.
wow.
And so I died trying to save a friend of mine in the back of a Jeep. A bomb landed on us in World War II. And they gave me a dream. They showed me the whole thing. And this guy, Mike, he's still in heaven. I have so many stories to tell you. You're going to be so bored with me.
This is so exciting.
This is fascinating.
Anyway, so he and I, we died. And we actually had a funeral together. They even gave me that dream. Like both of us, I was on this side of the room. He was on that side of the room, the coffin. And we were both like buried together. Not buried together, but, you know, laid out together. So I tried to save him and bomb dropped and killed me too. But anyway, doesn't matter. But it's funny because I ended up driving a Jeep in this lifetime, right?
That's so cool.
So it's like all these kind of past life memories that we have. So when I was younger, so here's another thing. I died in Civil War too with my dog Bo, who I currently still have now in this lifetime. And my name was Thomas then, and I was an illustrator for the Civil War. So, you know, they send back like illustrations of, you know, fighting in Georgia.
Yeah.
And they would send it back to like, you know, the North. Anyway, that's what I did. Anyhow, I know what I was going to say. So when I was a little boy, I was like 5 years old. I always had a fear I was going to get drafted in a war. So now, like, what like 5-year-old thinks that, right? Like,
Right.
you're going to get drafted in a war. And it later I found out that, you know, I was in all these wars and died in them. I also always had a thing. My birthday now is September 19th. I always had a thing. I love numerology too. We can talk about that later too. But I always had a thing where I thought I was going to die on my birthday because I always remember seeing same date on my tombstone. But I think it was because my last birthday was September 11th.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that's another day too. I know that's a big day in the world history, but I think there are days on the calendar that are significant.
Did you by any chance go and try to find Lou?
Yes, I did.
That's so crazy.
And I did find him.
Oh my God.
I have pictures of me in that lifetime.
Okay, that's insane.
That is
Pictures
insane.
of me. So here's the thing. So my name was Lou, right? I don't know my last name. Now they only tell me limited stuff because you can't know too much. So I've been like dying to find out stuff about me, right? Of course. So I lived in Philadelphia in that life, and I moved to Vineland, where I live now, Vineland, New Jersey, chicken capital of the world. I actually live in a development, but it used to be a chicken farm by this man named Shekel. It was Shekel's Chicken Farm. I did the research, and I knew him. I knew him in that life because I lived right across the street, right across the road in this farmhouse from this development before it was a development. And Mr. Shekel, I've seen him in my yard. He's been here.
Oh my word.
This is his ground. So in that life, my name was Lou. I think my last name was Miller, but I can't be sure. Okay. So I had a girlfriend named Genevieve. Genevieve and I had 2 children really young. They were twins, Louise and Lou. Louise was actually kidnapped and murdered in 1933.
Oh no.
And she's buried here in Vineland. I don't know where she is. They won't tell me. They won't tell me my last name because they don't want me finding too much stuff about who this is. Here's another cool thing. So I knew that a couple stole her, and they gave me a dream of her being kidnapped. It was the most upsetting dream I've ever had in my life. And anyway, it was around Christmas time, and she was looking at trains, and they stole her. And so long story short, Louise is still in heaven with Genevieve, right? So Lou, my son, he's back on Earth. He turned out to be my nephew's son. So lifetimes do connect. But in other words, the cool thing, you were talking about, like, did I see spirits when I was young?
Yeah.
The thing, I used to see these two blonde-haired children at the end of my bed when I wake up.
Oh my God.
And I had no idea who they were, no idea how they were connected to me. And they were Lou and Louise. Like, way before I knew anything about this. So you know how, like, you're like, some random girl is, I saw in my room. These are people that are connected with you through lifetimes. So when I saw them, I didn't know who they were, but I later found out, put two and two together, and that's who that was. Yeah, but it's neat. Lifetimes are, I love lifetimes. Really, I love past life memories because everybody has them. So it's like, like you come in, you're like, I don't know why I can't go across a bridge, because you died on one, like that.
Okay,
kind of
what? That must be why I'm scared of water.
That's exactly why, because people
I'm terrified.
When they drowned in a past life, most times they're afraid of water. That's what it is. Or
like, I'm always scared I'm going to drown, but I can swim.
You won't believe how many times that comes up in readings too for me, where they'll show me. And it's so neat, like, how they do that with me. And I'm like, did this really happen? Or, is that, it's just so neat. It's still, like I said, it still fascinates me. And I've been doing it now. I can't even believe how long I've been doing it. So, sometimes you got to, like, go through a bad experience to get to your next experience that you're supposed to do. So life's fun.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that they laugh at us on the other side and say, wait till he does this. This is going to be hysterical, So
everybody gather around and watch this go down.
They do know when things are going to happen too. So, like, that time when, like, you could have gotten into a car accident and that voice in your head said, go left, don't go right, that kind of thing. That's your people there with you saying, don't do that, because they know what's going to happen. Actually, they even know, most times, they know the day and the minute you're going to die.
That's crazy.
That's all written. It's all written. It's all written in heaven. There's big books, there's big buildings with all these books filled with all your information. Like,
that's crazy.
It is. It's very cool. Yeah.
Wow. We've learned so much.
I know.
And that's only, like a minute of the stuff that's happened to me since all this. So do you guys know about, let's talk about EVPs. Do you know about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Electronic voice phenomenon.
Yes.
I love that stuff, right?
Yes.
So you watch those TV shows and the guy's like, hey, is anybody here? And then it's like, and they hear. So I watched, and I don't get, like, spirits don't scare me. There's not too much that really scares me in life, but the spirits definitely don't. And I love it. So, it doesn't bother me at all. Anyway, so it was like one of the few times, I have 2 kids and a wife and a bunch of dogs, and, my life's crazy to begin with. So it was all quiet in my house. My kids were somewhere and my wife was somewhere, and I was watching TV, and it was one of those ghost shows, and they were doing the EVP thing. And I was like, I'm going to try that. So I'm sitting there, and we had a sectional couch, and, where your back is, like, open, like you could stand behind somebody.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and I watch TV, like, I sit in the dark. I love, like, I hate, like, being in bright lights and all that. So, like, when I watch TV, the whole house is dark, like, that's what I do. So I'm sitting there. So I said and I was like, I got one of those little recorders. So I said in the recorder, I'm like, is anybody here? And I played it back, and this guy said, I'm right behind you.
No.
Like, in his day. And I was like, and it actually, like, freaked me out a little for a second. I was like, what? Because it was like, so immediate. And yeah, that can happen. So you can get stuff. I even tell two people, like, when they do readings, people are like, can I record it or whatever? I'm like, you can do whatever you want. It's your half hour. You can dance around for half an hour if you want. And and I'll say, but sometimes if you play this back, you may hear other voices on there because people can come through on that.
You guys might be hearing other voices.
Yeah,
I hope so.
So be listening.
That would be cool.
So if you guys hear anything, that like is unexpected, tweet
And
at
are you
us.
recording the video of this?
Yes.
So in the beginning, I thought I saw, right? Can you tell I just talked for like an hour? So I thought I saw in front of Brooke an orb fly by her hand, but in the beginning of our conversation.
I think I saw that too.
Did you? Because it was like, look, I'm pointing to you like you could see me, right?
Right.
Like here you are, right here, Brooke. Like you could say, like right there. Yeah, that hand.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I think I did see that. Yes.
It absolutely happened. I thought, wait a minute, was that her hand? And then your hand showed in another spot. I got a bunch of, I'm telling you, I have so many, like my mom told the best stories. My mom she was such a cool person. She's still a cool person. She's in heaven, but she used to have the best stories. My buddy Joe, I'll never forget it. He's like, you should video her telling her stories, you know? And she had like these crazy stories about like her uncle, Johnny One Eye, and like all that stuff. It's just great. I love that. I just love people like that. Anyway, so I'll tell you a story. So I was going to a reading. So like I told you, I do readings two ways. I do like phone readings, and then I do in-person group readings. And so I'll do parties of like 4 to 6 people. Each reading's individual, usually lasts about 30 minutes each, that kind of thing, right? So so I went to this house, and I'm a Virgo. So I'm like organized. I got my file cabinet. I like double check everything. I write things down in the book. Then I put it in my phone, and I have like 3 calendars all working at the same time. So just in case, you know, the world ends and I only end up with 1 calendar, I can still find my way around the world. Anyway, so when somebody, like if you came to me, I'd be like, okay, Nikki, you live at 111 First Avenue, you know, blah, blah, blah. This is your phone number. Like I repeat everything. So I know like we're both on the same page of everything.
Yeah.
So I go to this house in Northeast Philly, and I knock on the door, and there's nobody home. And I'm like, this is weird. And I'm there on time. And I turn around, and this woman's walking up, and she's coming up the steps. I'm like, oh, is this your house? She's like, no, I'm coming to party. I'm like, oh, you're here to see a psychic? She's like, yeah. She's like, are you him? I'm like, yeah. And I turn around, there's a big van. And on the side of the van, it says like Frank's Plumbing. And then her husband said to me, that's my name. And I was like, is your husband passed? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, is his name Frank? Or whatever the name was. I think it might have been Frank. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I was like, is that? And she's like, yeah, that's my husband. And I was like, I think we're actually at the wrong step. I think we're at the wrong house. She's like, I think so too, but it's so weird that we both had the same wrong address.
Oh,
right?
wow.
That's
so
crazy.
There, and nobody answers the door. So I'm doing this like private reading for her on this front step about her husband. So we both realize, she calls the woman, and the woman's like, no, I'm down the street down here. So we walk down the street together. So we go into this reading, you know, so that was it, like at that moment. And so I said hello to everybody and all that. So I started doing the readings, and then she came up, and I was doing it in this bedroom, the reading in a bedroom. And we're sitting there in front of this like closet door was kind of in between us. And we're talking about her husband, obviously. And out of the closet, again, here's my age. Do you know what a Lincoln log is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
We
Okay,
play
got
with
it.
Lincoln
So
Logs.
they're like these little wooden, like heavy duty things, right?
Yeah.
Out of the closet, somebody threw a Lincoln log, and it like bounced across the wood floor. And I was like, holy crap. And, you know, like, and so it was her husband like throwing this to her. So she kept it. I was like, here, I think it's for you, you know? So about a year later, this woman comes up. She's like, do you remember me? And I was like, your face looks familiar, but I don't know who you are or what your reading is. And she pulls her Lincoln log out of her purse. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, I talk about your story all the time. It was so cool. And yeah, so that's, and so sometimes like things happen during a reading too. You know what else happens to me too? My phone goes off.
Really?
And so like Serial, like I'll be doing a reading. I'll say like, oh, your mom's passed. And you know, she's saying this. And then Serial will say, your mom is here.
Stop
like,
it.
And it never happens other than in a reading. Like it doesn't happen in my house or anything like that.
That's so weird.
And I keep my phone out because I time the readings. Otherwise I'll like, obviously I'll talk all day and be an angry mob downstairs, like, when's he reading me next? So, but yeah, that happens too. And it's very easy for them to do like electronic stuff, send songs. My mom sends me songs, all kinds of stuff like that. But another story. Here's another one. I was reading
Okay, guys. Guess what just happened? He was just talking about electronic stuff, right?
And how they can manipulate things, like they can do whatever to it.
His computer just shut off.
So like
just
he's gone
turned
right now.
off. He's gone.
That's so weird. What if that happened to my computer or yours? Then
Well,
I'd
if that
really
happened to
freak out.
mine, that would suck. Because I don't know if it would have saved the recording. So
that would really
please
suck.
don't manipulate my computer, please.
Oh, that would really suck.
Yes. There he is.
But that's so weird.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
wasn't it?
That was weird.
Really weird.
Right in the middle of like talking about crazy electronic stuff, right?
Yes.
I was like, oh no, now they're playing with me. So, so I remember the story. Actually, I thought I'll never remember what I was talking about. So I was doing a reading for this woman, and I was saying to you, Nikki, earlier that rarely do I remember readings. Only if they sort of stand out to me, like if things happen like that, like the Lincoln Log thing or something like that. But most times, like I'll remember, like if I meet somebody, I'm really good at faces. Names I'm terrible at, like remembering that kind of thing, or readings too. But so I went to this woman's house, and her brother was passed, and we were sitting in her kitchen, and she had one of those trash cans. You know the trash cans like with the lid, and you have like annoying kids like I was, and you'd swing the trash can.
Yes, it would go
like
yes.
rotate around. So like you hit it, like bad kid like me would hit it, and then it'd fly like around like a circle, like a fan.
Yes.
So we're sitting in her kitchen, and we were talking about her brother, and all of a sudden, that's what happened to her trash can.
He's frozen.
What's happening?
I don't know. Oh yeah.
Are we there?
Hey, yes. Well, yes.
Are we good?
That was so weird.
So
Somebody really doesn't
And,
want you to tell the story, I guess.
what am I doing? I know, right? Are we good? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So, so I said, your brother says you're going to win. You're going to win money. So I went back to her house about like a month. I won $50,000.
What? That's amazing.
He's frozen again.
I
Yeah.
know.
Did you hear me?
No.
So what?
Yeah,
so
so-
what happened? So did the trash can? You said there was a trash can.
So the trash can rotated, and that was her brother doing that. And then after that, he said, you're going to win something. And next time I saw her, she told me she did a scratch off. And hello, can you hear me?
The connection is very, very robot.
Yeah. It's weird though, because it's like you're smooth and then it's like
And then you're
it's
not.
weird. Yeah.
All right, we there?
Yes, I can hear
We're
you
here.
now.
Are we here? Are we good?
Yes.
All right, somebody's playing around with my electronics, which they can easily do, by the way.
So crazy. Because we've been fine the whole time.
I know,
Yes,
right?
yes, we have been fine.
I know.
Until you started talking about them manipulating electronics.
I know, isn't that crazy though?
I just told them,
And
I just said to him before you came on though, I said, listen, please don't manipulate my device because I need to save the recording. So please don't turn my computer off.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So well, at least yours is good.
Okay.
So that's good, right?
Yes.
So anyway, so she did win $50,000 on a scratch off. I don't know if you heard that part or not, but she did
That's
win.
crazy.
That is crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. So rarely do I get numbers or that kind of thing, but I did get that for her. So that was cool. So
Wow.
nice for her. But yeah, it's amazing though what they can do and all that stuff. And they really can. And what they do here is like just like the tip of the iceberg of what they can do.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So do they like to play around, like
Yes.
play
Well, wouldn't you?
pranks?
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you? Well, I would. I mean, that's just
That's
me.
true.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But what they really want you to know is that they're still with you, that they're
Yeah.
not gone. And that's why they do the things that they do. There was one woman I was just doing the reading for, and actually somebody contacted me today, and we had a really strong other connection that we didn't know about, but she said she wanted to do a reading, and she was too far for me to do that in person, but we could do a phone. But anyway, this other lady who gave her my name and number, her son had passed, and he was actually showing up in her videos as the shadow. And she was like a non-believer, like she didn't believe in this stuff. And, look, you can believe in anything. You can believe that, the moon's made out of cheese, and somebody else must say, you're nuts. But, there is a moon, and, until you're there, you don't really know what it's made out of. You know what I mean? Not that it's made out of cheese, but if you're, I always say, like, it's good to, like, I'm a skeptical person. And actually, when all this sort of stuff started happening to me, and I could go in like really amazing stories of what has happened to me, but I didn't even believe it when it was happening to me. So I don't like, it doesn't matter to me if somebody believes or they don't believe or believe me or not. I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. I just hope that somebody gets something from a reading, and usually people do that they're that they get a message and it means something to them, and they tell you something specific that only they would know, that you would know. And I love that. I love when that happens, and it just happened to me today with a bunch of different things with people and what happens. And it happens really daily, when I do readings.
Well, it happened when we talked the very first time.
Yeah. And that's not even, and like the stuff we were talking about was sort of like, not really like amazing specific stuff, but it was specific.
It was pretty specific. Yeah.
Stuff that are like very, very specific. And it's just neat. I just think it's neat.
I'll just have to tell them he knew about my dog Caesar, who was like my dog soulmate, and he knew that his name began with like C, like Caesar. So, and you came up and said today Caesar, and we talked weeks ago, and he was
behind you on that bed.
It's Caesar, I miss you.
Yeah. So. But it's neat, it's just neat knowing they're around. I just, my dog, he just passed the other day.
Oh,
and
that's
the
right.
cool thing, little Dugan. And I rescued him like almost 13 years ago. And we hung out together. And, but, I always say the nicest thing you could do for any pet is to send them home when it's time to go.
That's true.
And so, and I had, many pets. I'm a crazy dog guy, so I still have 3 dogs now, and but that's my thing, that's what that's how I'm connected, and I'm also and I was telling you one thing, here's a cool dream that I had. I started to tell you this one before, but I met St. Francis in this dream, and I know that sounds bizarre too. The stuff that I say, I just and you know what else I do too in readings, because I even try to like not say half the stuff that I'm going to say, like when I talk about dogs, because I'll say, he's doing this, as opposed to him saying he's doing this, because dogs and animals talk. Like I saw Dr. Doolittle yes, they do. I saw Dr. Doolittle at a very impressionable time in my life when I was a kid, the original one, the good one with Rex Harrison. Do you ever see that one? That movie?
Yes.
Dr. Doolittle?
When I was very little.
You could talk to the animals. I know. I love it. Anyway, I'm telling you, I saw I was a little boy. I loved it. Anyhow, I thought, now that's the life for me. That guy's got the life, So maybe that's why I wanted to be a veterinarian. But we know how that ended. But animals talk. Like, did you ever stand here? Do you guys have dogs now? Do you both have dogs, or?
I don't. She does.
So do you ever stand in your kitchen and you're like, oh, the dog's hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog is telling you that. So there's like mental messages that go through to
They
people.
tell me it
Like,
all day, every day.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm always keep my books. But like, just like you two have mental messages.
We do.
'Cause you're
Yeah, we
connected.
do.
So it's like, oh, I was just going to call you. That's so weird. I was just going to email you. I was just going to send this, or I just saw this and you saw this, or whatever. That's that connection that people have that are in close relationships. Like you can send mental messages, across the sea to somebody.
I believe
truly
it.
that.
I
Absolutely.
believe that too.
And it just sounds bizarre, but when I do a reading and I'll say, oh, your dog's passed, and he's saying, and then I always try to catch myself when he's like, and he's saying, because he does say it. He's saying it to me, It's not like grandma telling me about the dog, but sometimes I'll word it that way so I don't sound like I'm completely insane, and the dog's telling me that you used to, do this or whatever.
I just came to a realization when you were talking to me, you said there were 2 cats behind me
Yes.
that had passed. Those are for Brooke.
Is that Belle? Is that Belle?
Bella.
Belle?
God.
Yeah.
Did they pass at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh
Like
my
a day apart?
God.
Huh?
Was it a day apart?
It was one day apart.
Like
I am
24 hours?
freaking out.
It was yeah, almost exactly 24 hours.
One cat's very connected with you through lifetimes too, and from Salem. Remember we were talking about Salem? I'm talking to Nikki.
Oh, yes,
not
yes.
you, bro.
I remember, yes, because I told Brooke. I was like,
Got them.
yes.
Got them.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2 cats, and one died. We knew that was what we were doing that day.
Everything.
She was old. She had a lot of things.
Was she like 17?
Yeah, but somewhere, we're not exactly sure how old she was, somewhere between like 17, 19, around there.
Did you get her at 3? Did you get her when she was 3? Did you get her when she was 3?
No, she was my grandmother's cat. And we only had her for like 4 months.
Oh, maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing 3. Might have been around 3 months. Doesn't matter, but
it honestly probably was about 3 months.
It was
Anyway.
about, it was. And she,
what's your other cat's name?
that was Lucy. So Lucy was the one that was my grandmother's, and Bella was,
Did you call her Lulu or something?
my Grammy maybe called her Lucy Lulu.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. But your grandma's passed, correct?
Not this one. She's in a nursing home.
There is a grandma passed for you.
Yes, there is.
There's actually 2 grandmoms that are passed. Might be your husband's grandma, but there's 2. Your grandmom's fine. The one in the nursing home, she's fine.
Yeah.
Passed. Don't worry about that. Is she
No.
doing well? Your grandmom that's in the nursing home? What's her name? Then I don't have to keep calling her that.
Betty. She goes by Betty Elizabeth, but Betty.
Is Betty okay?
I mean, yeah. No, she is.
Okay.
She is.
I'm not getting anything wrong with her, is what I'm saying.
No, she's
I'm not getting like she's not in a nursing home because she's dying, in other words.
no, she just can't do for herself.
Yeah, that may be the
Can't take
case.
care
What
of
I'm saying is
herself?
she's not, like, in other words, you're not going to get bad news tomorrow about her.
No,
I think
no,
she'll be around for a while.
No, I don't think so. She just can't. She's just
I
at an
get it.
age where she can't,
Is she in her 80s?
she is.
She 89?
She will be 89 in
Yeah.
like a few days.
I'm like just speechless.
Okay, because you're saying 89.
Yeah.
Her husband's passed though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's with her.
Oh.
Was he in the military?
Yes.
Was he in the Navy?
Oh.
Somebody was.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of, like, my grandfather, and then like great uncles. They were all military, and they all had
Sure, and
were in
there
different
was
branches.
there was Navy in World War II also.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somebody was on a ship that was blown up.
Oh.
They were.
Someone was on a ship that was blown up.
And
Bro,
your
did they live
pop was
through
the
it?
fisherman, right?
Yeah.
Nikki?
What?
That was Bud?
Yes.
Yeah, he loves you.
Oh, I love
He's
him
got a
so
boat in
much.
heaven. He says it's not so cold here, though.
Oh. I'm so glad that he has a boat.
Who did he fish with? Who did he fish with?
He fished with a lot of people, but
He fished with a young man.
yes, he did.
There's a
Yes.
young man that was by his side.
Yes.
Who would this be?
That was a mutual friend of my dad's and his.
And somebody fell overboard. I mean, that's not a stretch of imagination, but somebody did.
Kind of.
Yes.
They didn't get hurt.
No,
But I
You bringing
mean,
that up.
it like something went into the water.
Mhm.
And it was a really bad thing. Well, it was like kind of
What
funny,
happened?
but
Like electronic thing?
so
Like something bad?
well, like with ice fishing, you could drive your truck on the ice, right?
Oh,
Like
the truck went
the truck went in the water. And yeah, it was
Halfway?
bad news.
halfway though?
Halfway.
Yeah, because he showed me halfway.
Yes. But he
it
was not
good.
he was kind
But
of
it was not good after?
I'm sorry.
Was the truck not good after that?
I don't think so. I don't think it was good after that.
I
No.
don't either.
No. I think he had to get a new truck.
I think so too. But he's got one in heaven. He's got a dog with him too.
Oh.
He's got a big dog.
He's got a dog?
Yes.
Wow.
And he looks like sort of like a bloodhound dog.
That sounds like something he would have. He wasn't able to have one on Earth here with my grandmother. But
Are they allergic or something?
no, just
She just didn't like them.
my grandmother loved dogs, like at least when she was older. But
He's got one with him, so
yeah,
I guess that's heaven.
I bet he loved dogs. He did love dogs because like the dogs we had, he loved them.
Yeah, he's got one. Yeah, that's awesome.
I seriously, I could listen all day. I was telling you before, I've always just wanted to make sure he was, I kind of knew he was okay, but like there's been so many coincidences that he's like around me that I've just always wondered if that really was him.
Coins too? He just showed me coins.
That's my other grandfather.
Yeah, he's here too.
Yes. Okay, so that was crazy.
That was amazing, you guys.
I mean,
like I didn't know what to expect.
I went in with zero expectations.
Same. No expectations, open mind, no expectations.
Yes, right.
And guys, he is like legit.
I feel like,
I mean,
we've been to other mediums.
Yes, with varying degrees of feelings about it after.
Right.
Not saying that anyone was bad, or
right.
If anyone was like amazing. It was like, you have questions after. And because of course you can't explain this. Nobody can explain this.
Right.
Like you and I mean,
no.
I can't explain it.
No.
But I have to say, of my experiences, this is like, I felt like it was top notch.
I felt the same.
And he's such a great guy.
I know. I can't wait to talk to him again. Well, just to talk to him, first of all, because he's a great guy and he's fun to talk to.
Absolutely.
But like, I really wish Kevin like told me twice. He's like, why weren't you recording? Like when we did the first, like, he's like, Nikki, why didn't you record it? I want to listen to it. Cause he listened while I edited.
Yep.
And so I was like, because so much was said, you guys, so much was said before. And now I don't remember.
Like off camera, like off recording.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I didn't really have time to write it down. And I probably should have just like, after we had recorded, just like put it in my phone as notes.
Mhm.
And now I regret it because I don't remember anything. I just remember that he was so accurate on so many things. I do remember one thing. He said that my son was named after my grandfather, which is true.
Yes.
Which is true.
Yep.
And I have a very unique story that I'm going to ask him about. That Brody used to tell us remember this when he was little, like really little, that he picked us in heaven. Do you remember that?
I feel like I remember you telling me about that. And I know I've read of other children.
Yes.
Actually, you know what's so funny? I was this close to asking him about that.
Really?
Just the theory of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Just the theory of it, because I like, I remember you telling me about that.
Yes.
And it might have been him, Brody, saying that prompted me to read more about it. This was back before I was pregnant, when I was struggling to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is very sad, but I remember like crying and thinking, like, why won't any babies pick me? Like, why won't they pick me? And then with Sadie, even now to this day, I will tell her, I'm so happy you picked me to be your mom.
Oh.
And like, so I think about it a lot, and I wanted to ask him, and I think I didn't have the opportunity to.
Right.
So yes, I really need you to ask him about that and like, see, is that really is that a thing?
Okay. I will ask him for sure.
Because
I will get back to you guys and let you know.
How amazing.
Right.
So, sorry.
No, that's fine. And so that was the long short of it. Well, sorry, connected to my grandfather. He said that he was with my grandfather in heaven when he picked us. He pointed right to Gramps' picture and said, I was in heaven with him and I picked you.
Oh,
so
I love that.
It was just, yeah. So the very first thing, so we're going to touch on some of the things that we talked about, because this is a long episode. You guys probably had to split it up, even this one, into 2 parts.
Right.
But I felt the need to bring in Brooke and for us to kind of do this like mini-sode of us responding to what he said, because I think it's important. Because Brooke's found out more information and I have found out more information since we talked with him. So the very first thing that he asked you was about Marie, and that floored me.
Oh, because, okay. So was it, because we do have Maries in my family. Like Marie is a very, I have
no Maries in my family. 0.
We have Marie is like, I have an Aunt Marie. She is not deceased, but a lot of the, like, I don't want to say a lot, but several of the women in my family have Marie as a middle name. But then also I had my imaginary friend Mary.
Yes.
So
was Mary coming through, for crying out loud?
Mary was a bee. She was rotten. But so I'm not, it could be connected in one way or another. But so yeah, there was that. I lean more towards it being Marie, like someone in my family. And the reason why it's significant is because we talk about that middle name a lot. Because there are Maries and there are Elaines. And my daughter, her middle name is Elaine. But some people that have the middle name Marie will say to her, no, you're Sadie Marie. You should be Sadie Marie. And we talk about it. And we laugh about it fairly often on a weekly basis anyway. So it's a significant name. I don't know who it was tied to.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Right. I felt like the entire time we were crossing paths. with
Yeah.
some of the stuff, and I'll get to that later. But like with the cats, so before we recorded, John said, "You've got 2 cats sitting on the bed behind you," and I was like, "Well, I have 2 cats, but they're alive." He was like, "Oh no, these cats are deceased." And I was like, "Well, I've never had cats before these 2 cats," and I was like, "Maybe my husband," but I think he only had 1 cat. Like, I couldn't, you know what I mean? I couldn't
Right.
really think.
Right. You couldn't tie it together.
Right. And that's when you guys heard we were crossing over. I was getting stuff for Brooke because I mean, you guys heard what he said about the cats. Like, that was just like, how?
That's
Belle?
crazy.
Like, how?
Right,
Like, how? Seriously.
That was insane. Lulu,
Yeah. How?
how would you know? He wouldn't.
No.
People don't know that happened.
No.
I didn't
No.
post it on any social media.
No. We did talk about it on the podcast, but we didn't say
We
their
did.
names, I don't think. Maybe we did. I don't know.
I feel like you'd have to dig to find it.
We really would have to dig, like really dig, and he doesn't have time for that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So we talked about the accident. Like, he said there was an accident. It was on Pete's side.
Mhm.
And something happened in January. He kept saying January. He said January a lot. Yeah.
He did say January a lot.
Yes.
So Pete it was an uncle.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete's uncle was killed by a tree. Like, he was like cutting down a tree,
Mm-hmm.
and it killed him. And I don't know. He was talking about like flipping 3 times. I don't know what that means. And Pete didn't know what that meant either.
Mm-hmm.
If I talk to like his mother about it to get some further details, I might find out more. I haven't spoken to her about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually have that, like, a note for that to like figure out further from
Yes.
his side of the family.
Okay, good.
Because
he also said a name. Nope, that was later. Never mind.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that may have happened in January.
That's so crazy.
Because I don't know if it was like an ice storm or there was something. Anyway, like, the tree was broken or dead, or there was a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tragic.
Yeah.
It was a shock. It was a total shock. I mean,
That's
of course it
crazy.
was.
That's too bad. Oh.
And, but just so strange.
Oh, I wanted to let you guys know, because we did ask if you guys heard anything, like, tweet us. But in the very beginning, Sadie is talking. So like, just very, like, very little in the very beginning. So if you guys like hear stuff like towards the middle or towards the end, like, that's not Sadie talking. She was just talking in the very beginning, because I could hear it. I was like, people are going to tweet. Like,
Yeah, no, that was my small child.
Yes. And so then he starts talking to you about Sadie. Like, when Sadie came in and she appeared, and I was like, what the hell? I was scared because I wasn't expecting a live human being in the background. And he kept saying, like, you have a lot of people. You have a lot of people around you. I think that's what he said. And you were like, I have a lot of people who have passed.
I do.
Right.
My family is much smaller than it was when I was a child.
Yeah. And when he talked about Sadie, he was like, there's 2 names with Sadie that have passed.
There are 2 names.
Sorry, that was my dog.
Oh, okay. There are 2 names, and I didn't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I wasn't thinking, but there's a Sadie on my side and a Sadie on Pete's side. No, I never knew the Sadie on Pete's side. For that matter, I didn't really know the Sadie on my side. She was my great-grandmother who passed away when I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But so there are 2 Sadies.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Now, your aunt, was she a Sadie? Is that what you just said?
My great-grandmother.
Your great-grandmother was Sadie.
Was Sadie.
Who was your aunt? Your aunt was the Marie. Your great aunt.
So I have an Aunt Marie.
Right. That's alive.
Yes.
But there was something that tied into that with the jewelry.
Oh, my Aunt Sandra.
Yes.
So when he was talking about the jewelry, you have a piece of jewelry. That was my great Aunt Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
She passed when I was a kid, but I have one of her bracelets.
So crazy.
And the reason why it's significant. Oh, also, I have a bracelet that my mom made for me out of my great grandmother's crystals.
Oh.
I had forgotten about that. My mom had kind of reminded me when I talked to her about it. But I felt like it was my Aunt Sandra's bracelet, because this bracelet I've had since I was a teenager. And I love it. And it's always been like significant. I don't know why, but like I've always had it and I always love it. I don't wear it always, or really often at all. It's costume jewelry. It's not anything like super fancy, but it's beautiful.
But it's her bracelet, so.
It is her bracelet. And so that was kind of significant because I don't have jewelry from family members. My family members didn't have much for jewelry, you know?
Right.
So that was just really kind of neat that he brought that up.
Right. And he also brought up another passed in January. He said, like, he kept saying, and she passed in January.
Okay. So my Aunt Sandra did not pass in January.
Okay.
She passed, like I was confused. She passed just after Thanksgiving. I think it was like December 5th or right around there.
Okay.
But my great grandmother passed in January.
So
my grandfather passed in January.
Oh my God.
And my aunt, I think it was my great aunt Evelyn, passed in January. And they passed on like, my great grandmother was the 23rd. My grandfather was the 21st.
And he kept saying like multiple 20 numbers. Like,
yeah. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I went to my mom and I asked her about the dates, and then she like talked to my aunts, and they like between them they've kind of figured it out. So it was really kind of cool.
That is so cool. Then I think so the next thing that happened, he got kind of like cross. Well, maybe, possibly. Because he was like, there's a Judy, and Judy is my aunt that passed, that when I went to another medium, like she talked the entire time.
I remember that.
And I love her. She's a sweet person, but I was really hoping for my grandfather. But like this was like a group reading. So
yeah,
it was, and she was right on with a lot of things with Judy. Because Judy died like in her sleep and she had an aneurysm. So she knew that for some reason, which was crazy. But anyway, he didn't say much about Judy. But Judy may have been like, I'm going to just step back and let Bud take the wheel on this one.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my grandfather did. He was there like the entire time. Like the entire time we talked in the beginning, and even through this, I mean, you guys heard. And I have some information about that.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
Amazing.
I do. Yes. So then he said there was a man. Well, he kept saying you had 2 children. And he said that to me the very first time I talked to him. He said it to me again. He said, she has 2 children. And I said, no, she only has 1. He's like, she's miscarried. And I said, no, I don't think she has. And he's like, are you sure? Because he kept getting 2 for you. He got 2 for me and 2 for you.
Yeah. And I've never miscarried that I know of. I feel like I would know that.
Right. Maybe you don't. Like maybe you did and you didn't know.
I mean, I don't. That's so weird.
Because he kept saying 2, and then he brought it up again, and I was like, oh my gosh, he said 2 before.
Am I gonna have another one?
Maybe.
Oh man.
That's what he said. The first conversation, he was like, "Do you want another kid?" Like,
I mean, that's weird.
Yes. So then he talked about Jim, which was a man that was in the house on the property. I thought he was talking about Bo immediately when I was just like, Bo's coming. Bo's coming.
Right.
You know, like, but then he said, no, his name is Jim, and he's not tied to you like you think he is, but
Right.
he's tied to you.
And I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
There's no Jim in my family. There's no Jim on Pete's side.
No.
But the woman that lived in this house before me, because he mentioned something about like who lived there before you.
Right.
She was a single woman.
Right.
But the basement that I sit in, like this room that I'm in right now, she totally redid for her father.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was going to move here. He was going to move here because they're from New Jersey, and she was going to move him up from New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's why it's set up like an apartment down here. There's like a kitchenette and a full bedroom and a full bathroom. And so that she did it like that on purpose, but he refused to move up here. So that's why she sold their house and she moved down there. So I got this for a good price and a totally finished basement with like a little apartment down here.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like a basement.
No, it's just it's nice. I love it. But I don't know his name, and I tried to look her up to figure out his name. It's very likely that he's passed now.
Yeah.
But I haven't been successful in finding her at all.
Oh wow.
And the reason is she has a very unique name, but there's several people with that unique name.
Really? That's weird.
It is weird. And not just in one place in New Jersey. There's like multiple in New Jersey, and I don't know what she looked like. She was not at the closing. So I've never met her. I have no idea what she looks like. So I couldn't like find a picture.
Yeah.
So anyway, I still want to figure that out. Just to know, like, is that Jim?
Cool.
Like, was her dad Jim?
Yes. That would be cool.
That would be really cool. Because I felt like that. I just feel like that might be what it is.
And that was another January. And he said it was tied. It might be tied to Pete. He's like, might be tied to Pete, but that was another January. So one of the things I did before I got on the call was that weekend, last weekend, I'd been going through stuff at Kevin's house, and I bumped into this like tote, and it was a thing of frames, and like on the top of the tote was a framed picture of my Nan and Gramp.
Yes.
I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh,
this is what it looks like. You guys can't see it, but it's one of my favorite pictures of them, and it says unforgettable underneath. And this, I did it before Nan passed, which is kind of weird. Because it says unforgettable, you know. I mean, I guess not. I guess it's not weird. But so I had a framed picture sitting on my desk, and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Brooke, and I said, this is the picture. I have it on my desk just in case he says something. So then he said, do you have pictures in the back there? Like, do you have pictures out? And I'm like, do I say something?
Yes, I'm glad you did. Did you? You did.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
And then he said, and someone was cremated. So it was a big deal that my grandmother was cremated, because for a long time, she would tell us she never wanted to be cremated. I don't know if she changed her mind or not.
Yep.
But when he said cremated, I was like, oh my gosh, he's talking about Nan. Like, he's talking about her.
Right.
And we had already talked about Nan before. We had gone on, because he told me that she visits her old house like a lot. I was like, oh gosh, those poor people. I hope they're not scared. But then he went and said it maybe because like you started talking about like it might be on Pete's side, and then he went to like a male and he said Ed, like an Ed that was on Pete's side, possibly, but we don't know any Eds. I don't think I know any Eds that have passed. So
no, I really don't.
Yeah. But then he's talked about your brother. So
My brother.
he said a younger male gives you a kiss. And that was so sweet.
That made me just happy.
Yes.
Happy.
And he knew so many things. I mean, that he contributed to his passing, that he had died before.
Yes, because he did.
Technically true.
Excuse me. He died. He had his first open heart surgery in August of 2019, and he died on the operating table.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he died. And they were able to bring him back.
Wow.
So then when he and then he died. And
Yeah.
he died in March. And obviously the first one wasn't of his own doing.
Right.
The second one was not on purpose.
Technically, yeah. Not on
technically
purpose.
it was.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
Right. Right. He didn't take his own life. Like he didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No, he right. As he said, he's like, no, he didn't take his own life. Like he didn't do that. But it was just, you know, indirectly that he did it. So
yeah.
But then,
yes. Then he said there's another younger male. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yes. So
that, I mean, I have goosebumps right now. Right now because immediately when he said,
yeah, no. So can I just say, okay, first of all, and Nikki, you refresh my memory because I haven't listened to that.
Okay. Yes.
Did he say something about there being at some point like several, but there was the one in particular, but that there were many, or that there were? I don't remember. And maybe that's just something that's in my brain because and I thought that myself, because when he said that there's another young male, in my mind, I remember thinking, gosh, it could be any of them, because he's had so many friends pass away.
Yeah.
So many. And if you guys knew my brother, like if you were if you were friends with him, if he was your friend, or if you were his friend,
yes,
like you were friends for life.
I really felt like I was Bo's friend. Like I really felt like
you were.
He would, like, if something bad happened,
yes,
and he found out about it, he would be the first to be like, I'm gonna go kick his ass or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But he would be the first one there to help you.
Right.
Because he wore his heart on his sleeve.
He did.
And he was a good friend to people that were sometimes not a good friend to him, but that's how he always was. And he's lost a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then when he said that this one took his own life.
Right.
And that he hanged himself.
Right. Immediately. But then he said, and that his name began with R. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he said Robert. And I was like, oh my God. But see, I always thought he lived down the street from you. Like I always did. I don't know why in my head that I pictured this house that was like right down the street from you. But he didn't. You said he lived over by like the Tree Streets more so.
Yeah, he lived over off Garland Street, or on Garland Street maybe, or no, like just off it on Howard Street, I think. But his girlfriend lived in my neighborhood.
Yes.
Like 2 blocks over.
Yes.
But they were friends as little boys. Like they were friends as kids.
Yeah.
He was friends with all my cousins, like because they played like t-ball and soccer and basketball and you know all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, and then he said he went to school with you, both of you,
right? But he said he was in between us,
which I don't know what that means.
I kept thinking, did we have a study hall with him? Maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't remember. And then I was thinking, well, did he live in between us? Nah, not really.
No.
But it's got to mean something. I just don't know what it
Yeah.
is at this point.
It has to mean something.
But I will tell you, I think about him often. I didn't know
too.
him well, but
I
I
didn't either.
think about him a lot because it was my first experience in kind of knowing who somebody was. Like I maybe talked to him like a couple times.
Mhm.
I don't know what we would have talked about, but and knowing somebody that like took their own life, and that scared me. It did.
It scared me too.
And I remember coming to school the next day, and I remember that like one of my favorite teachers crying, and I didn't know what was going on. So anyway, I think about him a lot. And then he like all of a sudden switched, and he said, "Who plays basketball?"
Right.
And I feel like maybe that's the only way he knew about me was basketball. So that's why he was showing him basketball. Because a lot of people only knew me because I was on the basketball team.
Because you were a very good player. You were a baller.
Well, thank you. But I think a lot of people, when they thought of me, they immediately basketball.
They thought
that was
basketball.
like, so
100%.
that's what I mean, you know.
100%.
And that's when my grandpa came back in. And he called him by Bud. I don't think I told him that was his name before. I don't think. And that was surprised me because I was like, oh my gosh, he just said Bud. Because his name was William, and
Right.
Brody was his name, Brody William. But people called him Bud. I called him Grant, but people called him Bud. And he talked about him having a bad back. And so I explained that to Kevin because Grant would never tell you. He would never tell you if there was an issue, like if he was not feeling well.
Right.
Even like the days, like his last days, you would have never known anything was wrong because he would not tell you. He just wouldn't. And Kevin said, well, he drove a truck for how many years? I'm sure he has a bad back. So I was like, oh yeah, probably, you know.
Right.
So that was like those were like some really significant things that we talked about. And then we talked a little bit about Angela Desideri.
That was funny.
Also, I've always been concerned that I have had bad spirits around me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you have.
Brooke knows this.
For a long time.
I mean, forever, since I was like little. And for him to tell me that he didn't see any, like, meant so much.
That's huge.
I feel better. Because I hope he would tell me. Like, because he always says, you know, he tells the good stuff, you know what I mean?
Right. He's not gonna like.
I just have always felt like I'm attracted to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I attract them. And I hope that's not the case. But and I'm scared of them. Like, I'm scared of bad spirits, really, more so what it is. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up. But then he said that Brooke used to see spirits. He would say that Brooke is very in tune. And you were like, yeah. I did see spirits when I was little. I had an imaginary friend named Mary.
But she wasn't imaginary, and she was a bitch. She was awful.
Oh my gosh.
I had a long conversation with my mom about Mary after we talked to him. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Mary, she said that Mary came and disappeared just as fast as she came. It was like Mary followed me.
Uh-huh.
See, I always thought that Mary was only at my grandmother's house.
That's what I thought too, because that's what you had told me.
Because we lived there. So this would have been when I was 4. Because we lived there when I was 4.
Okay.
With my grandparents for a little while. And then we moved and Mary was there too. I don't remember that.
Uh-huh.
But my mom was like, yes, no, Mary was also in Etna. So,
Oh my gosh.
but then Mary just disappeared. So I was, and I couldn't, and I was thinking I was more like, I don't know, 8 maybe or so, but I wasn't. I was younger. I was like 4 or 5,
Wow.
6, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, you guys, I could draw a picture of Mary. She's that clear in my head.
You know what? We
Still.
should get like a forensic drawer, like a forensic artist drawer. And like, wouldn't that
We
be
could
amazing?
find one on Fiverr.
I bet we could. I bet we could.
I'm
I
going to
think we
look for
should.
one.
I think we should. And I think you should do that with them. And
I think
like,
that'd be really cool.
I think so too. I think that would be amazing.
Maybe
That
I
would
could
be
research
amazing.
and see if I can find Mary. Who's Mary?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. Okay. So maybe I'll do that. But yeah.
So then we saw an orb on Brooke's video. And it was like, or we talked about the orb. And tonight we've seen a bunch of them. What's weird is I've never seen dust go upwards.
So that's what's weird, because that's what I was saying just tonight, because when I haven't seen one in a while now, sitting here talking.
No.
But when we first got on,
It was like
we both saw like orb
everywhere.
Orb. I just saw another one right here.
Yeah,
right there.
Another one,
and
just
it went up
straight up. There's nothing blowing.
No,
right?
there is nothing. No, there's nothing blowing. There's nothing blowing. The heat isn't blowing. Like the everything is like level. When we first got on, my water heater was running.
Uh-huh.
Because it's right over there, but it's not anymore.
They're like everywhere now. Like we're talking about it. Now they're like, it's happening. It hasn't been since Brooke and I have been talking, but
no, because I was noticing. I was watching for them.
And it could entirely be dust. It could be. But
what am I doing different?
And I feel like I would have noticed that like other times that we've done Zoom. I've never seen anything in our videos.
But like the one that was right here was really bright just a minute ago. It went
very, very bright.
It went like a shoop, like a scoop.
Yeah. And it went, and they're going up, you guys. Like up.
Right. That's the thing. They are going up. They're not going down.
It's like a fly. It looks like a fly.
But wouldn't there be, I guess here's the thing. I just saw another one. And it was going up.
There's another one right behind your head. Went up.
That's so weird.
So crazy.
Yeah, it is. Nuts. But anyway.
Yeah. We did say if you guys hear voices tonight.
Yeah.
Well, we're like, and let us know.
Breaking it down. Let us know.
There is no one talking. The only thing you could probably hear is my dog barking. No one is talking. There's nobody around me. There's nobody around Brooke.
Nope.
So
I'm in this
something.
Room.
Let me know. Let us know.
Please.
So he started trying to tell us that trash can story about the trash can going around.
Yes.
About the woman and about them messing with electronics.
Yes.
And his computer shut off.
That was so weird.
And we had zero connectivity problems. Zero. None. And all of a sudden we had connection problems.
That was really weird though, because we were just talking about it.
He could not get through that story. Something would happen. And you guys are hearing the edited version, which still is a little chunky, but he could not get through the story. It was crazy. And yeah. And then we ended up talking about the cats when he said, was it Belle? That was crazy. And we talked to you guys about that already. And he kept saying 3. I feel like you only had your Gram's cat for 3 months, but
no, that's exactly what it was. We got her in June or July, and she died in October. So that's 3 months.
Wow. So last but not least, my grandpa came through again, which I'm very happy again about. And he talked about someone falling overboard. So I didn't know this story. But I told my sister about this and she was floored. Like all the things that were coming up, she was just like, and my sister doesn't get that way about things. Same with Kevin. They don't like, it's not, I don't want to call them complete non-believers, but like, I would say Kevin's probably a complete non-believer. Like, I don't know. He's open. He's like, I don't pretend to know, but I'm not saying that I do know. But this was just too much, like, for both of them. So she told me a story that my grandfather and his best friend, Bingo, his name was Bingo.
Of course it was.
Because they all had nicknames, you guys, like all of them. His real name wasn't Bingo. It's just like I have my mom's name was Stretch, and my nan's name was Trick, and like then there was Sanko, and yeah. So, Graham couldn't swim, and neither could Bingo. And Bingo fell overboard.
Oh, no.
And Bingo died.
Oh, that's sad.
So, I did not know that. When I talked to my sister about the truck going into the water, she had no idea what I was talking about. So I don't know if that's just some kind of weird memory in my head, because that's kind of a specific memory.
That's a very specific memory. Like you would have had to picture that, like
right. I can see an orange truck, and I can see like either somebody took pictures because it was like in the water. So yeah. So I think that's what he was talking about. Fell overboard. The coins thing. So here's something funny. I think he said, do you find coins? But I thought he was saying coins, like just coins. Does coins mean anything to you? My grandfather collected, my dad's father collected coins. But I find like random, when I'm having like a bad day or whatever, I'll find like a random penny or dime or just weird things, because and it's just been after I learned about this. Like this was maybe just a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I've noticed, I've been like, oh my gosh, I just found this. Like, why is this here? This is weird. So yes, I do find coins occasionally. And also the last thing they said, both of our families are together. Brooke and I's family,
which is really cool.
That is really cool.
And like, I wonder why.
Yeah. Did he talk about Salem? He did talk about Salem.
Did he?
A little bit with the cats.
I don't remember.
He kept saying to me that Brooke and I have a connection to Salem, Massachusetts. And I said to Brooke, I hope we weren't those little girls that claimed that woman was a witch and that she bewitched us.
Right. Yes, you did say that to me.
Because I hope to God we were not. Because that's awful. Please God, awful. No. I also hope we weren't hung.
Yes.
So anyway, that was all the things. We just wanted to do like a play-by-play.
Yeah.
I think it was fun. Yeah, and we'll do it for the second one too.
Yeah.
The second one won't be as long, but we'll be releasing it in the next few weeks. And we want to have him back on again. Maybe we'll do something completely different. I don't know what we'll do, but he is going to be launching a podcast, and I'm actually going to be helping him with that. So
that's really cool. That'll be a lot of fun.
I'm excited. Because I really think that he's a very interesting guy, and he really needs to get his stories out because they're really awesome, and I feel like he's going to have an audience. Like, I just feel like, and I think you guys should go listen because he's, and he's going to do readings on there. So
that's so cool.
Who knows? You might get read.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
we will let you know. I will definitely let you guys know when it launches. It's probably going to be soon. So keep your ears open and
That's awesome.
your eyes open. And
I can't wait to hear.
yeah. So that's the episode. Now I
Thank
have
you
to go
guys
edit this.
so much. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. I'm going to go get a bowl of Lucky Charms.
Good call.
Yep. Lucky Charms and editing. That's what I'm going to do.
Good call. Thanks for doing what you do.
Hey, I enjoy doing it.
I'm going to go do the graphic.
That sounds like a plan.
I just need to know what the title is going to be.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about, I think this is in the second episode that we talk about this, but this is the second part of the episode, but he talks about like pictures of deceased people that he's captured just a couple times with the same person. It freaked me out. It's on his website. Freaked me out.
So I need to go look at this.
JonGerner.com. It will be on our website. I'm not going to put the picture on our website because it's like his picture.
But right.
But yeah, so freaking cool. And it's
That's
Jon, like John, like our John, our new kids on the block, John. Yeah,
our Disney prince.
And let me tell you, this guy, he is so cool. Like the 80 stories that he has that are non-medium psychic specific are pretty friggin' funny too.
One thing that I had kind of forgotten about and didn't mention.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to, but I just thought I'd mention.
Okay.
So I also had a Grampy Bud.
Oh, you did? That's right.
He did have a bad back. And he collected coins and stamps.
Oh my God, he was talking about your grandfather.
But the overboard thing means nothing.
Okay.
Those are like the two things. And I think Bo, we still have his stamp and coin collection for Bo.
Wow.
But and we don't know what to do with it. Like we have his like his fez from the Shriners.
Oh yeah.
For Bo. Like that was for Bo. Because Grampy Bud was really, really special to Bo.
Oh.
And we don't know what to do with it.
You should have spoken up and said,
well, I wasn't thinking at the time. I just thought that was your grandfather. And I just wasn't thinking. So, but then.
We should include this. We should include this in the episode.
Okay.
So, we were going to do this off record, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, the overboard means nothing.
Yes. The overboard didn't mean anything to me either, really, except for the truck thing. Until I talked to my sister, and then she was like, yeah, you didn't know that he couldn't swim, and neither could Bingo. Yeah.
Poor Bingo.
I know.
But it was just weird. And I honestly wasn't thinking about it until we were just talking about it tonight.
That's
I was like,
crazy.
So I have my Grampy Bud, and he's Bud.
He had a bad back, and he collected coins.
Yeah. Coins and stamps.
He was talking about your grandfather.
And like and the coins.
Does the big tree, is there a big tree significant to you? Is a big tree significant?
A big tree?
Yes.
Why a big tree?
Because he kept talking to me about a big tree. We had a big tree in our backyard, in my parents' backyard.
Oh.
But
the only big tree that's significant to me that I can think of is the big tree that was in my dream.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With Bo, with his name carved in it.
That's right.
It's gonna make me cry. It was the biggest tree. It was like
he just kept bringing up. He brought it up before we talked.
Yeah,
and then he brought it up again when he was talking about basketball, and I said, "Yeah, Gramp taught me how to play," and
And I remember you saying like there was a tree in the yard.
Yeah, but it wasn't like significant. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but he kept saying this big tree. It's a big tree. And I didn't know the significance of that, but maybe it was Bo coming back to talk about.
It was the big ass tree in that dream. It was my dream within a dream. It was like my inception.
That's crazy.
I've had 2 of those. I had one the other night.
You did?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me.
I didn't?
No.
I had another one. It was the other night. And it was a dream within a dream. Inception. I've had them twice. I've had 4 dreams with Bo. 2 of them have been like that.
That's crazy. So that's it. That's all.
That's it, guys. Thanks so much for
Thank you.
everything. Always.
Yes.
We love you.
We do. We'll be loving you forever.
For real.
And 200 episodes next week.
My gosh.
Hopefully next week.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and this actually might be a little late tomorrow. So I know that I've been late, you guys, but
it's fine. People
like I said, there's been some stuff going on, and we do it
People
when we
understand.
can.
And we're pretty consistent.
We are.
So,
Yeah.
We get it.
Yes.
We love you for it.
Right.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.